Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You're somewhere in the world. It is sometime there. Welcome to the Link to the Past Randomizer League Week 7 matchup between Sphere Affinity and Spaceballs, the Rando team. I should mute the restream so I'm not hearing an echo of my own voice in my head. It got very confusing very quick. So we've got two teams here. There are, unfortunately for both of them, no playoff implications in this race. Their division was pretty hectic, and yeah, these two will both not be going on to the playoffs, but they are here today to put on their last race of the season here in Week 7, which is the Co-op Information Sharing Week. So these two are going to be both sides of this screen here, the top, or the left and the right, are going to be racing against each other, and they are going to be able to share information about where items are, where things they find are at, among their own teammates. They are going to then use that information to try to limit the number of checks as much as possible and make sure that they are, getting through the game quicker than average. This is not quite like the level of a spoiler race where you've got, a silly amount of information and you can skip tons and tons of things because of that, but it's kind of got elements of it. You're probably going to end up with less health, you're probably going to end up with less rupees, bombs, arrows, and you kind of have to account for all that both in the way you are routing. Also, I was wrong earlier, it's the top versus the bottom, not the left versus the right. I'm dumb. I misread names there. But yes, you can share information. You're going to end up with less of the extra stuff than you normally would. And it's kind of a... Oh, wait, no, I was right the first time. Never mind. I read names right, but then I read other names wrong. Okay. So we are going to get going, and we are seeing on the left here two different starting points. We've got a shield and sanctuary, some money in Link's house, nothing that any of them really particularly care about. And we see PhantomRyu heading up to escape. Over on the left side, we see GFE doing a fake flipper over toward the witch's hut early. Gonna use this probably to go do a houlihan, if I had to guess. And tree pull is nothing, I guess. Nothing, or no, hearts. So over here on the right, PhantomRyu is approaching Uncle, who has a piece of heart. Probably not going to go out of your way for any pieces of heart. You might see these two share information on heart containers, go out of their way a little bit for that. But pieces of heart, not really that important. That heart container as well, it's out of the way enough where you probably aren't going to go there unless you need to go to escape later for something. Up in the Lost Woods, we had a big 20 on KillerApp's side. He's dropping down the Thieves' Hut now and finding a Power Glove. Okay, that's a nice grab early. It's going to open up the back of Escape, give a couple of small openings early, and going to be very important as we get a couple more items that allow it to open up more. We see everyone kind of doing a variety of things to try to get money and bombs. We saw the houlihan. We saw GFE go to the 50-50 bushes south of the Sacred Grove to get a bomb. And we see PhantomRyu, who, if I recall, had exactly 50 rupees, going into the shop here to buy some bombs that way. So we've got a pretty wide variety of how people are going about handling getting more money and getting bombs early. Both very important, especially with that glove opening back of Escape. We do see the library here with the mushroom on it. That's a royal pain in the neck. You don't want to see that. I mean, I guess if it's important, you're going to get the boots to get it, which is nice, but you like to see non-fetch quests when you can see items in advance. It's a lot... It's very preferable. Over here in the bar is a piece of heart. Sabo is entering into Blind's hut without any bombs. A little bit less risky because of the, co-op nature of this. We also got the flute over here, so that was a nice grab as well. Death Mountain now open. And a bottle in the Bumble hut there, or in the chicken hut there, so that will give them access to the sick kid while they're in town. We see KillerApp making an early play over to Eastern. You see a lot more of these kind of unusual early game things in co-op since, you know, you're not necessarily wasting time. Your teammate is still searching. Sabo's still without any bombs dropping into the well. Piece of heart, we get a moon pearl. That's very important. A book, possibly important, and another bottle in case you weren't sure if you wanted to visit Sick Kid with the one. You got another. Sazral's Hut having the first sword, which is usually a pretty relevant pickup. Bottle Vendor, meanwhile, just having a piece of heart, which is not nearly as relevant. We're seeing GFE drop down into the well now to get that moon pearl. He's also going to bomb the back here and see what Sabo had to leave behind. Obviously, when you have a co-op, you use your partner to check things like this. And it was a heart container, not a huge loss. Sabo not going to go back for that, most likely. The race game had a piece of heart. We did see that checked earlier, but the stream kind of hiccuped and did not show us the item. Now we know why it was skipped, because it wasn't anything worth the time. And that's a Titan's Mitt in the back of Escape, so we already have Dark World access at 4 minutes in. That is obscene. That is, when you have Dark World access that early, in a lot of ways it makes things harder, because you have so many options so early that it's hard to make choices. Co-op makes that a little bit easier, or leaves the stress a little bit of it, but it is not an easy thing to just jump in with, starting items 4 minutes in and say, I have both worlds open to me. Although on the side with the Titan's Mitt, over here on the right, KillerApp got that, and PhantomRyu has not made his way to the well yet, so they do not know that. And on the left, they have not gone to the back of Escape yet, so they also do not know the existence of Dark World access. But Sabo, getting his sword, will be passing that information right along. We're seeing a little bit of new stuff over on KillerApp's side. He is going into Mini Moldorm Cave, and there are going to be 5 items back here. We are probably going to see at least something in that group available, or worthwhile is the word I'm looking for here. PhantomRyu is activating his flute. He can use that to get to Death Mountain with the Titan's Mitts that he knows where they're at. He will be able to go up to Death Mountain, and with that mirror, that is Tower of Hera access. If you do not need fire, that is a way to clear out a dungeon. It's a pendant, but hey, it's a couple items. It's a relatively quick clear. And Sabo is diving into Eastern. We saw Sahasrara earlier, but we did not see the dive fully into Eastern Palace. So that will be a bit of new information going on over here. KillerApp, meanwhile, heading over toward the left from Sanctuary. I'm guessing gonna go over to Kakariko. He probably by this point knows there's at least something over here. Hey, there's an Ether Medallion that got left behind by Sabo earlier. I missed that when GFE picked it up. My apologies, 4 screens, 1 person. A little bit hard to see everything. We got a 20 rupee out of the first chest in Eastern. We got a compass out of the second chest, so 2 items remain. And we are seeing the right side over here get to the well. They'll get that moon pearl. They'll know what it means. And they'll start talking about, how are we going to do this? By the way, I was going to say early on the Spoiler Seed, especially, or not Spoiler Seed, Co-op Seed especially, you're probably going to be lower on health than average, but both these runners, or all 4 of these runners, have at least 7 heart containers already, which is just wacky for this early when you're not checking everything you normally do. So we continue to head our way over in Eastern. Gonna go through a couple of dark rooms out of logic. These are very simple dark rooms. Once you know the layout of the room, they're something that anyone can kind of pick up the game and do. you don't need a whole lot of practice for them compared to some dark rooms where if you don't know exactly what you're doing, they're going to be real tough. So that gives Ryu his first glove. He's going to save and quit to Sanctuary, probably go grab the second glove immediately out from the back of Escape. We see GFE find the flute over in the dam, and KillerApp going into the Misery Mire area. With all this stuff, he's got the Mire Shed, he can mirror over to Checkerboard Cave, he can dip into Crystal Desert Palace and see if there's anything worthwhile there. We get a map check, we got 5-6 crystals at Skull Woods and Misery Mire. We got our pendant number 3 is at Thieves Town. So that's it. That's our layout. The Thieves Town, Eastern Palace, and Tower of Hera are the ones that don't need cleared. Pretty much the least optimal set of dungeons to get as pendants, but hey. And we did see that there... Oh, it's all dungeons. My bad. I'm dumb and forgot that. So I would still say least optimal layout of pendants, but it just doesn't really matter. There we go. So we are dipping into Desert over here on KillerApp's side, which is a pretty straightforward play with the Dark World access, with the flute, the mirror. This is a pretty straightforward choice to make, especially... there's the big key on the torch, so we do need boots to clear it. And we're getting the mini Moldorm dip from PhantomRyu over here. Obviously, the mirror was in here, so we do want to pick that up. You're not going to leave that behind as any of these runners. We did get the small key in Desert from the one chest available, so that means that we will be able to, you know, go and get a couple things out of here at least, despite that big key lock. Unfortunately, item number 1, just a heart piece, which is not really what you're hoping for. And Sabo also heading over to Mini Moldorm Cave. I'm gonna go get the mirror, GFE activating the flute, and we got a compass in the other chest in Desert. So the last item is either on the boss or in the big chest. Either way, locked behind the boots. We will be seeing them before we see that item. We're seeing GFE make a similar play. Oh, that's Bombos on the desert ledge there. I did not actually notice that. But hey, we are going to be seeing the same kind of play from GFE as KillerApp made, and we're going to see where PhantomRyu and Sabo end up going to. We get the save and quit to Sanctuary. Ryu has not picked up the Titan's Mitt, so he's going to go grab that before he does anything else. Sabo, meanwhile, with the Mitt, is going to go activate that flute he just picked up and head over to probably the Dark World. Agina's Cave with a piece of heart, not really anything we need to see or want to see, but it's a thing that is, you know, okay to have. The more you get, the more health you can end up getting in the long term. So let's see where KillerApp goes to next. He has his flute out, he plays it, Duck grabs him and brings him to Death Mountain. He is going to do the Dark Room for the old man. If the Eastern Palace Dark Rooms are a thing that really just looking at the layout you can get done, old man, not so much. There is a very inconvenient hole right past the doorway here that KillerApp just went through. If you don't know the layout super well, it's very easy to drop into that hole, and very annoying. The sword helps because you can follow the sparkles and watch the camera move. When the camera stops moving, you know you're as far right as you need to go. And Sabo going to make the dive into the Dark World here at the portal north of Village of Outcasts. PhantomRyu going to join him momentarily, both taking, you know, similar routes in the Dark World after their partners went the Mire area and desert checks. And that's a hammer in the chest game. That is ideal. Before now, you had the Titan's Mitt, you only had one portal to access the Dark World. Now you've got the one south of Link's house to which is a lot more convenient for various things. You get flute to 5 to get the pod easily. A lot more convenient to have the hammer than a lot of other items. Spectacle Rock has a piece of heart. Not going to bother to go get that. 20 bucks, first chest of Thieves Town. And we see Ryu going over to the Skull Woods play. Gets a big key out of the first chest here. If this next chest is not a small key, it could be an annoying layout of the dungeon, but we'll have to see if that holds true, and it does. So now we go to Pinball Room, which as of the most recent versions of the randomizer, is a randomized chest. Before that, it used to be always a small key. Now it's random, so if this is not a small key in here, Ryu is going to have to save and quit out and head back to Kakariko after the save and quit. But small key gained, going to be able to walk out of here, complete a nice convenient loop around the dungeon. And meanwhile, we got KillerApp going up the Tower of Hera, and Sabo continuing to work through Thieves Town, where we have not seen any super important items or anything so far. The big key was vanilla, which for a share info seed like this, you kind of hope it's earlier. So if everything else in the front is unnecessary, you don't have to take that long walk, but hey, you can't win them all. KillerApp is starting to set up for Herapot, although I don't know, is there a way to do this without the hookshot now? Have I missed that? Nope. Okay, I was correctly aware of what was needed for that. KillerApp just had a brief moment of forgetting he didn't have that. Walks away after realizing that he can't many the hookshot and going to go up here the normal way. Meanwhile, Ice Rod Cave over on GFE's side, which we hadn't seen, is a piece of heart. We are heading to the back of, or we're heading to the Bombo floor here for Sabo. Gotta deal with these crickets. They do 2 hearts of damage each. When you're on 5 hearts, you're not particularly worried about them. And we got our second item out of Hera. I do believe that was the red shield. So nothing here except the pendant that we are going to need to complete the seed. Oh, no. KillerApp just not doing the bomb jump, going the long way around. So that will be a compass in the big chest, and we're going to Troll Dorm now. I do apologize for the fact that I am missing some things, but hey, I'm one person watching 4 screens. It's bound to happen. Yeah, one of our 2 trackers today, Fear Agent, who is also, the admin of this tournament, pointing out that PhantomRyu has entered Thieves Town without the hammer. So if this next chest is the small key, the one next to the maiden, then it could be trouble for Ryu. If it's not, then it'll be a little bit tricky to, or a little bit of a negative situation. But as I said earlier with the Well and Blind's Hut, this is co-op. Your partner's going to be here anyway. They'll probably have the hammer unless something really funky happens. So it's not as big of a pain as it could be. It just might waste you some time if there's an important item in this lock chest. And hey, those were the boots up there on the bumper ledge. So we're going to be looking for a cape. A cape will unlock the boots for us. Oh, and Ryu just doesn't go to the back. He walks out. He death warps, walks out, gets his hammer, which is good because those were the flippers in the big chest there, which are absolutely going to be required to get through the seed. Moldorm takes the fall from KillerApp. A very vanilla fight with just the fighter sword, and we get the magic powder. So that is a fetch quest, a pretty easy to check one. And quite honestly, when you're in a co-op seed, not going to check that is a bit wacky. Over here we got our second boss fight of the seed going, sab0tender versus Blind. Blind is a completely scripted fight if you do the same things every time. For most runners who are on the, competitive side of this, you're probably going to know the script. Sabo missed 1 hit there, kind of threw him off, but managed to catch up at the end there, get 1 more hit for his 20 bucks. So Thieves Town had the flippers and a pendant we needed, but hey. And PhantomRyu finding out that the dig game costs 80 rupees and he does not have 80 rupees. So he'll be leaving that behind. I'm sure KillerApp will be checking that out when he is done up here in the Village of Outcasts. And we are coming back up. We are going to go grab the blacksmith, bring him home. Thankfully, Ryu does have the 5 rupees required for the blacksmith. You know, a lot of people tend to forget the fact that you are charged rupees here. But yeah, you do need some rupees for the blacksmith, and he's low, but not that low. So KillerApp gonna pick up where PhantomRyu left off. He's gonna get the big key and head to the back of Thieves Town with that hammer. We'll find that flippers. It might be 10. I can never remember. It's such a small amount, but yeah, has a kitty. It's a very small rupee requirement. You almost can't even notice the rupees draining away. It's so quick. So we now grab the purple chest, gonna walk that down, turn that in, do the, what's the word I'm looking for? Do the loop over to Hype Cave afterwards, I'm sure. sab0tender at the digging game. Ryu had a lead behind earlier, finding 300 rupees. That's kind of rude, but hey. So we are seeing KillerApp killing that skeleton. I'm not sure what kind of drop he was hoping for there. Probably not a blue rupee, though. And Blacksmith going up on Sabo's side. We got GFE retreading the steps that KillerApp took into Tower of Hera. And PhantomRyu continuing along this southern route. Almost left that purple chest in the portal. That would have been a rough, or yeah, almost had it in the portal, but managed to grab it, and is now going up to Stumpy. 20 bucks still leaves him just a little bit shy of those 80 he didn't have earlier. Unfortunate. Piece of heart in hammer peg. Sabo says, not gonna bother. Now up here in the Bombo floor room, of course, KillerApp has not seen this. His side has not gone to the back before, so he will be letting Ryu know what's going on in the back, that he really only needs to bomb the floor and open the big chest. But here we go, everyone. Here is Hype Cave, the cave that is sometimes a little bit hype, but often not really. We do get the best boomerang from the dude here, which is nice. We get 10 arrows, we get 20 bucks, we get 5 bucks, and we get the worst boomerang. So we start with the good and end with the bad. Get a blue and red rupee to go with our blue and red boomerangs. That was a fun Hype Cave. I like that. It wasn't good, it was just fun. So Sabo, seeing these 3 bombs in K45, actually gonna go pick them up because, you know, he only had 6, and again, in co-op, you're opening less chests, you're getting less random bomb pickups. So when you see one like that, picking it up just to be safe, it works. We get our purple chest turn-in, which is 300 rupees. I'm sure Ryu, with how low he was, is okay with that. He was going to walk over toward the desert area, decided not to, probably because he already knows what's in Agina's cave, but goes, he was going to Bombo's tablet, but forgot to go back to the Dark World first. There we go. And we are heading to East Death Mountain up on GFE's side right now. That's a heart container on Bombo's tablet. This is new to us. GFE is the first one up on Death Mountain with the hammer. Gonna do Spiral Cave first, which is not really what anyone wants to do without boots. But hey, the cape could be here and get us the boots, so we gotta do it. It's been interesting how much the routes of the top and bottom players have been similar. But at the same time, there have been a few differences that have really kind of helped make things a little bit more efficient over on Spherefinity's side. Knowing that the hammer was in the chest game, GFE was able to go here in a little bit more convenient route to East Death Mountain than KillerApp will need to. Ryu, without the hammer yet, going to Thieves Town, going to have to walk back, dive back in there to go to the back, whereas he could have done it in one go and maybe save KillerApp a couple of checks versus, KillerApp saving him a couple of checks. So a little bit of convenient routing so far on the left side of the screen. Unfortunately, Sabo dropped his bomb just a little bit too early and it didn't open the door. And now we'll just get disappointed that he paid 2 bombs for a couple boomerangs and some rupees. Meanwhile, here we go over to the Super Bunny Cave. Going to use the mirror to delete these blocks by pressing Y as it moves, and then be able to just go straight to the end of this cave without really having to worry about anything. Sabo, meanwhile, having turned in purple chest ahead of time, is leaving Hype Cave to the north. Gonna go over across the bridge and maybe to Pod, maybe to Catfish. Kind of 50-50. You can make arguments for both. Either way, probably going to the pyramid. So here we go, coming out to the pyramid. We're also opening Hookshot Cave, although can't get anything out of there. GFE walks in, goes, oh, wait a second, becomes the second person on the stream to forget they don't have Hookshot for a moment, and heads into Paradox Cave instead. That's a blue mail on the pyramid. I don't know if GFE will go out of his way for blue mail, but while you're right here checking it, you're definitely gonna grab it. There's really no reason not to. And now Sabo is gonna mirror over and do escape while in the area. Very, very clean routing. We are getting the magic powder check, which is a heart container. And we've got PhantomRyu going into his Moldorm fight with the hammer, going to be much easier than the fight that KillerApp had a little bit ago. Very nicely done. 3 hits and the worm is gone. Dealing with many Moldorms over here on the left side of the screen, getting some junk from the left side of Paradox Cave. A couple chests left to salvage it. Piece of heart and another piece of heart. Yeah, Paradox Cave completely empty of value. Disappointing, but it's bound to happen sometimes. I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of thinking that, a swamp play is on the horizon from one of these teams. You don't have hookshot, so you can't clear it, but you've got the flippers, you got the hammer, you got the mirror, you've got full access to the front of the dungeon. Co-op diving swamp without hookshot is a little bit less painful than doing it solo, so I could see that play coming soon. And we find out that T-Rock requires the one medallion we haven't seen, because why not? Piece of heart in the chest here in Sanctuary. We should have one more item if I recall. I know we saw the small key in the chest. I know we have the small key already, but I do not believe we've seen the map so far. GFE taking his turn on the magic bad check. KillerApp has just done Cave 45 as Ryu is going through Spiral Cave. And Sabo is poking this ball and chain dude a couple times to get the map out of the chest here. Gonna have to go through the dark to be able to get to the last item in Escape. And we do have KillerApp making his way over to Catfish. No, you can't walk through that gap in the dark world. You can do it in the light world. It's very convenient there. But for some reason, the tree is just a little bit closer in the dark world and doesn't quite work. You're over in a quick potion grab. Gonna grab a blue potion for safety. And, general shenanigans for just kind of using it to do something like a potion camera unlock in Pod could be possible. Could just be using it for magic restoration with a health bonus. Lots of ideas on what he could be planning to use that blue potion for. We've got GFE back in Village of Outcasts, gonna take his turn through Thieves Town. Does have the hammer, so we'll get the flippers, and we'll clear out blind for a second pendant. And the last chest in Escape was a single arrow. Outside of the gloves in the back there, that was a pretty empty escape in terms of value. We will not see GFE go in there at all. KillerApp going to the Waterfall Ferry after Catfish, because of course, and getting 20 rupees because, well, who needs progression anyway? So now we are going to go see King Zora with 694 rupees. KillerApp can easily afford this, but he will, hopefully not get some, scam-worthy stuff on there. And GFE getting a little bit tight on health, but with the powder in hand in the Hellway, he'll be able to powder an anti-fairy and become, much better off. And Zora with a life lesson. Don't pay $200 for $5, my friend, or $20, my friend. It is not worth it. GFE taking a couple hits here in the Hellway. This is getting tight. Please. Yes, okay, got the fairy powdered. I hate to see deaths in the Hellway because it is such an annoying place to die. Glad that he managed to get things sorted out and get that anti-fairy powdered before it became too late. Ryu with the flute is walking out of Link's house, but not quite using it yet. Looks like... Oh, he realized he was already on flute, and flute's away. So he is going over to 3 here. He is going to go grab the flippers from the back of Thieves Town, clear out that dungeon. Incidentally, interesting spot that we could go right now. Ice Palace. Ace is actually completely clearable, pending key layout right now. And yeah, open relatively early, just like Swamp. 3 items there versus, being able to partial clear Swamp. And hey, there's the other mail upgrade sitting on the hobos. Now we know where all of our mail is. So yeah, we got Pod, we got Swamp, we've got Ice Palace, we've got... That's about it in terms of things that we haven't seen that could have progression. So we're going to start to see people funneling into some pretty unfavorable locations here shortly. KillerApp making the check on Ice Rod Cave, which the right side of the screen had not checked yet. Getting that piece of heart, a little bit of disappointment. I would not be surprised to see him go down to Ice Palace at this point. It's kind of... I would say out of the choices left, it's the only dungeon that at the end of it, you're going to have a dungeon reward. But no, he's going to Pod. He's going to go here without the bow. So, safer by a wide margin. But you can't quite get everything. You can get everything but the boss if you use a potion camera unlock, or if you go crazy and do a mimic clip instead. But you're not going to be able to get the crystal out of here unless you find the bow in Pod, which is always such a pain. Sabo following a similar route, going to now go get red mail. Sorry GFE for missing out on both the mail upgrades because your partner found them first. You might route one in, but they're a tough thing to route in when you're already sitting on 12 hearts. I think for most competitive level players, 12 hearts is enough to complete the game with green mail. And if you're trying not to go out of your way for stuff, Hobo and Pyramid are both pretty out of the way locations. So over on the left, they have not dove into Skull Woods yet, so we're seeing GFE head that way. And Sabo fluting to 6, I do believe GFE already checked this area. We can't get into... We can't do anything in Meyer even if we have the medallion, which I forgot. Oh, he's getting bombos. There we go. That's what he's going for. He's going for bombos. And since he's going out of his way to get bombos, that means this is the Ice Palace play coming up. You have no reason to get that before you go to Ice Palace, really. And making the safe check of, let's go get a potion before I dive in here. You're going to have Hammer Cold Stare. You don't have Fire Rod to shoot off some extra shots to do some extra damage. So yeah, having some safety there is useful. And the KillerApp has left Pod and mirrored over to Eastern. We know there's nothing in here, he does not. So he'll be going through this dungeon for the next little bit here. Sabo, meanwhile, going into everyone's favorite thing, Ice Palace with Fighter Sword and Bombos. Because who doesn't love having to sit through this gigantic animation every time you want to kill a Freezor? Having to sit there and Fighter Sword or hammer the Pen Gators to get the next chest in the dungeon. Who doesn't love it? Okay, and GFE is heading to go do a pedestal check. We're going to figure out if pedestal itself is required. It's all dungeons, so it doesn't hurt if pedestal is required. And knowing this ahead of time is good value. Just using Bombos on the Pen Gators, probably quicker. Bombs are the other reasonably quick option there, but they're kind of a pain in that particular room. PhantomRyu going up against the blind over here on the right. GFE finding out there's nothing in Skull Woods yet, going to follow up on the pod play. Both sides pretty heavily avoiding swamp. I don't entirely blame them because you can't clear it. Ryu gets a little bit off script at the end there, gets blind down, gets his 20 bucks and his pendant. But yeah, you know, it's hard even in co-op to want to dive swamp without hookshot, especially because for left side you have to go do one chest and then go all the way back around to do the other one, and left side is about 50% of the chests you're going to get in the dungeon, so you can't really leave it behind if you go there without hookshot, but you also can't do it conveniently. Now, KillerApp did leave Pod very quickly, so we don't know if there's more deeper in the dungeon than he went. We'll be getting that soon, because we did already see Eastern on this side of the screen. Saba going with the Ice Palace bomb jump, gets it after a couple of tries, and will now be dealing with this annoyingly placed firebar. But hey, he's through there, and he took the hit, didn't get knocked back into the pit, which is really the part you're concerned about. And is going to use bomb strats for this room, where it's relatively easy. He just kind of eats a hit on the face to not have to deal with that. We get the big key relatively early here. And KillerApp not going back into Pod, that actually surprises me. I was expecting that he was using the fact that he mirrored, or menued to mirror, to go back to the start of Pod. I was kind of expecting that to turn into already having it out, mirror to Eastern, and then go right back out, right back into Pod. But no, he just, he left. So we get a small key in the Freezor chest here in Ice Palace, going to go back over to the right side while it's open. That also means that there is some hookshot lock shenanigans not in play in Ice, because we got a small key in an available chest, and we do not have the big key yet. GFE using potion camera unlocked to get that red mimic off the screen and then walk the 2 green ones off as well. And that allows him to go over to the right side without the bow. Not usually a hugely beneficial thing, but it's usually nice to be able to do. Small key in one chest, a small key in the other chest, and moving right along. Sabo gets bombs in the vanilla big key chest in ice, so not really ideal there either. And continuing along, we'll head down to Ice Tea Room next, most likely. That's a compass out of that chest there. So with both dungeon items, yeah, we know there is... Well, I don't know the small key count. I know we saw 2... Yeah, there should be an item in 2 of 3 locations between Big Chest, Boss, and Ice Tea Room. In fact, with no big key, now that I confirmed that we don't have one like I thought, that means Ice Tea Room is the big key, and the other 2 locations, the Big Chest and the Boss, have the 2 remaining items. Unfortunately, falling while trying to set up that bomb jump there, and that is not really what you hope for. That's a Cane of Samaria over here in Pod, which will make a trip to Ice Palace for GFE a little bit nicer. He'll be able to do the relatively new glitch Icebreaker when he gets here because of that. And we see PhantomRyu taking the Spaceballs, the Rando team, trip into the escape area here. Gonna find that single arrow early and realize that disappointment of doing the dark room for it. KillerApp waiting out the fire bar and moving along. Sabo gets that big key and we'll head around. And in response to the what is Sabo doing thing there, I like the routing in general. When you got that small key from the freezers, go back up to the right side, since you know it's in logic and it'll be more convenient that way. Then tried to set up the bomb jump after killing the freezers, but just kind of missed it and fell. And that resulted in, you know, kind of inconvenient routing at that point. Now this bomb jump going to be important. You want to get this so you can check the big chest. If you fall down without a hook shot, then you're just going to have a bad time. Okay, I get what you mean there, Fear. I can understand. I get it now. And that's the shovel in the big chest of Ice Palace, which is, okay, fetch quest galore. We know the mushroom is on the library. We saw the powder earlier. We know the boots require the cape for bumper ledge. We've got all kinds of just annoying fetch quests going on. But hey, Sabo got powdered there, was flipping some switches to get a magic refill, which he doesn't need because he has plenty for Bombos already. And he can't really use any other magic in the room afterwards. But grabs an extra heart out of that pot on the top there. And we are seeing GFE make that swamp play about the same time as PhantomRyu makes it there. So our choices at this point are basically shovel or the shovel or the swamp play are going to be the answer, because we've done just about everything else we have access to. Shoot off the bombos against Cold Stare immediately, likely going to switch to Hammer afterwards, and then has that blue potion on hand for if things go poorly. With red mail, Sabo has a lot of leeway here with 6 hearts and red mail. Like, I don't think he would need to use the red potion unless things go terribly wrong. Over here, we're getting that first chest of swamp, and it's the map, because of course it is. That is one puff down for sab0tender. Doing very well so far and not getting hit. I think he took, just as I say that, he takes a hit because, naturally. Used the blue potion just to be extra safe. He could have taken one more hit, but why risk it? And Cold Stare is dead. Solid fight from Sabo. And he's rewarded with our 4th bottle. And that's not really what you were hoping for. So what do we have? Do we have a shovel progression, or do we have progression in hookshotless swamp? As a runner, I don't like either of the options of shovel from Ice Palace giving me progression or hookshotless swamp, but that's where we're at right now. We've been through Pod, we've been through Desert, we've been through Eastern, we've been through Skull Woods, we've been through Ice, we can't get into Mire or T-Rock. So here we go, over to the shovel. We're going to come up on another chest in Swamp very soon after. And we see a lag spike at a very, very inconvenient time. Wow, that was perfect. And that's the Ice Rod from the shovel. So, you know, Ice Palace leading you to the Ice Rod is important, but that's not progression. Progression is in Swamp, and it's either in this chest that we couldn't see the first time, or it's in left side, which is just freaking rude. Oh, it was the big key. I didn't even notice. I looked away from GFE, not expecting the big chest, and he was able to open it. But it was the compass, so who cares? Yay! So here we go. It's a co-op seed where you're supposed to split up your attention between different areas for people, and all 4 of our runners are very soon going to be in Swamp, because it is where it has to be. Let's hope it's on the left side chest, and it's a hookshot in here, so they at least don't have to do this stupid loop back around to get the other chest. I'm going to be a friendly commentator and just hope for the better situation, even though this is a dumpster fire at this point. KillerApp going up against Cold Stare. He's only on blue mail, so these pups hurt a lot more. He's down to... Oh, no! No, KillerApp takes the death on Cold Stare, and that really hurts. That is a long death to take. And he is leaving. I don't blame him. You have that shovel. You're going to bet on it. You're going to go over to Swamp, see what's going on there. That's the cape. Those are the boots. The boots are unlocked by the first side of chest on the left side of Swamp. And you just got to do a little bit extra. You got to go into left side Swamp without the hook shot. Get the cape. Go over to the bumper ledge. Go through that. And then you can have the boots as a little treat. So one more chest we can see here in Swamp. Will it have any more value? And $5. No, it doesn't, but wow. Wow at the fact that all that was in here was the cape. So we can now finish off Desert. I think everyone seems to have missed, myself and our tracker seem to have missed what the Mire medallion was when people were there early. So we don't know if we have access to that offhand, but Boots would let them get inside and do some of it without doing that. And I should clarify, I should follow up on my Desert statement. We can't clear it. We can potentially clear it of items if the item is in the big chest. KillerApp bought a potion, gonna go back to Ice Palace now. Go take out Cold Stare, you gotta do it. He's, I'm actually halfway surprised he didn't give up on this when he heard about the cape. Because with us knowing that the boots are on Bumper Ledge, I know his side has seen them. Once you know the cape is there, going back through ice will be a little bit quicker with the boots. But we're seeing PhantomRyu head that way now. Gonna go over to Bumper Cave, get those boots. GFE gonna pick them up first. Conveniently with the boots here, you can just jump down from the ledge, mirror over to check Bonk Rocks, run over to King's Tomb, and then you can flute over to 6 to go check that one item in Desert if you so choose. We also have the mushroom sitting on the library, which which could be a thing. We could have to get the boots to go get the mushroom to go get progression, which is awful. There they are. So hop down, avoid the murder dactyls a little bit, and proceed down to these two locations. I, as a runner, hope that Mushroom doesn't have progression, but as a commentator and viewer, I hope it's hookshot on Mushroom, because that would be the most rude it could possibly be. Bonk Rocks is a hard piece, so that's not really what we're looking for. And KillerApp is heading back to Ice Palace, getting to the Ice Palace bomb jump again, and missing it the first time here, but we'll be back to Cold Stare before long. Okay, it's not on the mushroom. Not on the mushroom, but just to be clear, we got the cape on left side swamp. To go get the boots off the bumper ledge, to go get the hook shot out of King's Tomb, and really you could make a good argument for just going directly back to swamp right now. GFE is going to go get this mushroom off the ledge here, but you still have 4 items left in swamp, so it's probably worth just going right back there after checking this mushroom. We also can now go back up Dark Death Mountain to go check out Hookshot Cave. Again, we can get into Mire if we have the medallion, which has now been marked as Quake as well. So someone did go back and look. It is Quake. We don't have access to Mire. So Mushroom, Swamp, or Hookshot Cave have something. That's 3 bombs on the mushroom, so that is not the answer. Saba going over to King's Tomb, gonna get that hook shot soon. GFE, where are you fluting to? You got a couple options that are open to you. You're going to 4 and heading south. He's making the play right back to Swamp. So Sabo will likely be making the play up to Hookshot Cave. And yes, Mario was in the turtle room in Pod, the one right in front of the Dark View room. And I must have been wrong about the right side of the screen seeing the boots, because KillerApp beelined it for Swamp once PhantomRyu had those boots. So he's going to go work his way through here and pick those up. I don't blame him. So, Sabo, as expected, going over to Hookshot Cave. GFE re-draining the moat to go into Swamp. And there's going to be something in one of these places. We know that much. We know that much at least. Looks like Sabo is going to go ahead and go into the Dark World from the Turtle Rock portal, which is good. It's a little bit quicker than going here from the bottom portal. PhantomRyu is meanwhile going to go over here, mirror, and head into Desert to check the big chest, the one thing in here that we have not seen but can get. So let's see, coming up on new info on 3 of the 4 screens while KillerApp works his way to that cape. And we are seeing 20 bucks in Hookshot Cave. We're going to see Diver down here from GFE. We're going to use it to be able to get down to these chests without having to drain the water. 3 of 4 in Hookshot Cave are no good. That is the bow in the flooded chest of Swamp. We can now clear Eastern in Pod. And Hookshot Cave was nothing. Sabo going to continue around here with the cape, going to head over to Spike Cave. He does have at least a green potion on hand still to manage his health, but or to manage his cape usage. Oh, he's going to Hera first and then into Spike Cave. So he's going to have full health going in. PhantomRyu is going into the back of Desert. He's going to get to the boss door, and he's going to come to a very painful realization that he has neither the fire rod nor the lamp, and cannot actually fight Landmolus. So this is going to be a very disappointing moment for Ryu coming up very soon. Oh, was the lamp in pot and I missed it? What? Never mind. He is going to be fine. He's got the lamp. Nope. No, he doesn't. He hasn't. I was going to say, I did not see Ryu go into pot at all. So I was kind of thrown off by that. But yeah, he does not have the lamp. So he had that painful realization. And is now flipping back over. He's gonna make the play back into the swamp. No worries. It's so we've got the Argus fight going on GFE's side. He is going with hammer strats, doesn't have the ice rod yet, so he doesn't really have a better way to do this than hammer. And Sabo gonna go kill Trolldorm and get his nothing out of here, but it'll be a health refill towards Spike Cave. So yeah, following up on the comment about this being a seed, we had basically the whole world cleared with no progression until we dove into Swamp without the hookshot, where the cape was waiting for us. The cape then led us to Bumper Ledge, which had the boots, and then the boots led you to King's Tomb with the hookshot, and that's where we're at now. The seed was a 4-minute Dark World access seed, so you had everything open from the get-go. You had Mirror early, you had the Mitts early, the Hammer early, the Moon Pearl early, and then you just got hard funneled into Swamp without the hookshot. So Sabo going ahead to go down here to Swamp, gonna go ahead and get that bow out of here. We know it's gotta lead to something, either on Helmasaur or on the Armos Knights, because, well, we've done literally everything else at this point. We're looking for the Quake Medallion would be big. The Fire Rod would allow us to clear Skull Woods, could be helpful. That's really about it. Quake and Fire Rod are our two items that we need. There are other things that you want. You want swords, but they're not going to give you a progression. They're not gonna help you now. If you want to keep going through the seed, you need either the Quake Medallion or the Fire Rod, and it has to be on one of those two bosses. So yeah, I mean, realistically, in a normal seed, in a non-co-op seed, these runners would have each done a lot more individual things, but you're not really saving a whole lot of time. Like P-Train is saying in the chat here, when you have these hard bottlenecks, it's really hard to see. It's really hard to save time as a co-op seed. You know, you're going to save some checks, but you don't get to do the, you know, I gotta go mode this dungeon that my partner didn't, because there's a limit on it. And yes, that is true. We do have the green pendant in Eastern Palace, and that could also be progression. But again, that's on the Armos Knights, effectively. I didn't specify that, but yeah, it's basically you have to kill one of the two bosses of the Bowlock dungeons, and there is nothing else to do. So Ryu over here doing some slideshow strats on Argus, going to hookshot, menuing to hammer, going back to hookshot, and repeating. A little bit slower than if you double pull and spin with the fighter sword, but not by a huge amount, so it really just comes down to what you're most comfortable with in the fight. If you mess up on the double spins, then it almost instantly become slower than doing the slideshow strats. So Sabo is going for the spin strats over here, it looks like. And we have Helmasaur, one of our two bosses who could be progression. Nope, switching to Hammer now. So let's see, what does our friend the Helmasaur King have to do? This is a very all dungeons RNG Helmasaur fight. Just, you know, a lot safer because you actually have health. A little bit of a mismenu to the flute instead of the hammer there. But there's our Quake Medallion. That is access into Misery Mire, which we can full clear. That is access into T-Rock, which, depending on key layout, we could get locked out right away, or we could make it all the way to Laser Bridge. Yeah, all dungeons is 5-heart Helmasaur. Yes, you get the Eastern Palace Heart and Sank Heart before going in there. So equipment-wise, it's basically the fight. But health-wise, you don't have to be afraid in this particular fight. Sabo done with phase 2 of Argus. He will by now know that he needs to go to Pod to get that Quake Medallion, as GFE begins going through Eastern to see what both Armos Knights and Sahasrara have going on. You're gonna see all 4 runners do kind of the same thing for a while. They're all going to be going to Pod to get Quake. They're all going to be using that Quake medal, or they're all going to be mirroring over and clearing Eastern and checking Green Pendant, or clearing Eastern while they're in the area. And those who are, you know, the first ones there are going to check the Green Pendant as well. Those who are there later will skip that if it is not the Fire Rod or a sword. KillerApp making his way through the Argus fight. He accidentally poked one of the puffs, so he had to release a spin. Got thrown off a little bit by it, but working back in the pattern now. As GFE heads through the dark rooms here in Eastern. I believe this was the big key in Vanilla, so he is going through here to grab that, and then heading straight to Armos. Meanwhile, Sabo making his first trip into the pod. He's going to be looking for 3 things here. He's going to be grabbing the lamp, he is going to be grabbing the Cane of Samaria, and he is going to be grabbing Quake. Everything else he will basically ignore. PhantomRyu in much the same boat, but he does not know Cane will be there. He knows Lamp will be there from KillerApp's side, but KillerApp did not go to the back and get the Cane of Samaria. So while we are retracing steps a little bit across the board, I'm going to take a moment to get a drink, and you all can take a moment to drop a follow on these 4 runners. It's their last race of the league. It is, you know, not something, and they won't be going on to the playoffs, but I know all 4 of these guys, they are all very good, they are all very fun people, and well deserving of a follow. And here comes the Armos fight, going for the quick kill and nailing it basically perfectly on GFE's side to get the Master Sword. So, our required sword upgrade is en route to the end of the seed. No one will have to go out of their way for a sword, unless they're trying to get tempered. But we no longer need to worry about that, we just need to know where in the world is the godforsaken Fire Rod, which is not normally the thing you're stuck looking for at the end of the seed. It's usually a little bit different color that is, you know, tricking you at the end. But hey, here we are, we're looking for the red rod, not the blue one. That's a red rupee, not a blue rupee, which is, you know, preferable, but not the right red thing. So KillerApp taking that hookshot, gonna go back up to Hookshot Cave, find out that it is empty, as sab0tender works his way up to Helmosaur, and GFE says, I've got a Master Sword now, and I'm going to check Ped. He has not read the pedestal. He did not use the book to do so. Neither of the two in Spherefinity did. KillerApp or PhantomRyu, I know, checked it, but they're gonna get some couch cash, if I recall correctly. Oh, no, no. He did check it. He just wanted to, he wanted to meme. He wanted to meme and drop a block on top of it and then leave. That's a weird way to use time if you're, you're trying to win your hardest, but if you're in the last week of the league and you just want to have some fun, yeah, go for it. That was a good one. So here we go. GFE gonna go wrap up Desert, much like PhantomRyu tried to do earlier, and sab0tender gonna go get the Quake Medallion, get his Master Sword off the Armos. I may as well take a moment still while we are still in kind of everyone's following each other along mode to mention our two trackers today. The Fear Agent, I mentioned him earlier, he is the admin of this tournament, he is one of our two trackers, and Jinxie Girl, who have been keeping track of stuff. Obviously, I am solo commentating today, so 4 screens is a lot to look at, having 2 of them there. Keeping an eye on things, keeping me aware of stuff that I might miss is a huge help, and I am very appreciative, as always, of those who take time to track. So we'll see what's going on here. We're going to see Spike Cave from KillerApp side. We saw this from sab0tender earlier. We know it's nothing, but we're going to see that here. GFE going to dive into Mire. I'm interested to see if Sabo will get through Armos in time to where do I go to Mire or T-Rock is a relevant choice. If we find an early Fire Rod in Mire, we will see Sabo follow right along over there. If we do not, then we may see that play up to... Oh yes, sab0tender did not get the Cane of Samaria out of the backup pod. That is an issue. The Ice Rod was on the shovel from Ice Palace. But yeah, that seems to be a little bit of drop communication, maybe? Because that's going to be a long walk back if he doesn't remember by the time he's done with Eastern. Like, he's got the walk to Armos Nights to remember that Cane of Samaria, or he is going to be in for a little bit of hurt. KillerApp on continued unfortunate timing, diving back into Ice Palace again. He'll be getting the Cold Stare maybe about the time that Ryu discovers that there is a Master Sword sitting on Armos. I 100% know it's the right call to make in their situation, but he tried to go back here, found out the boots were available, left, ended up coming back again, and now he's going to find out that there was a sword. I did not catch if he took a death the second time or if he just pieced out to go get the boots. PhantomRyu grabbed them very early into his Ice Palace dive, and he just kind of left. So yeah, Sabo about to get this Master Sword, and GFE working his way through Misery Mire. Has not found the thing we are looking for yet. We need a Fire Rod. That is all we need. That is a big key. Kind of convenient place for it, actually. Ideally, you can avoid the torch rooms, because with lamp instead of Fire Rod, they're kind of a pain. Especially the cutscene torches. But that's another small key from the big chest, so we're going left. And Sabo goes through the portal. He did remember the Cane of Samaria. Thank the Lord. That would have been so sad to watch if he had left. He just went to get Helmasaur right out of the way and then mirrored a little bit too soon. And he's going back and taking care of that now. GFE dealing with short-range torches, nobody's favorite thing to do, and gets a heart container for his troubles. Gonna have to go do cutscene chests unless he wants to take a really big risk that would be rather silly. Obviously, he has not chosen to do so. There's the cane for Sabo, and we'll see if he goes up to Death Mountain for T-Rock, or if he goes over to Meyer like GFE. You've got to clear both of them. You can clear Meyer, so if you go there now, you're just going to be kind of slightly behind your teammate, which is not terrible. But he's going back this way. Is he doing the same thing GFE did? Is he also going to go put a King of Samaria block on the pedestal? Please tell me that's what's going to happen. We do not know where Fire Rod is. It is the only thing we have not yet seen. So at the end of the cutscene, we find 20 bucks. The Fire Rod is in Turtle Rock, my friends. There is nowhere else left for it. We have seen everything else. It's in T-Rock. And that is... oh, wait, it could be Pyramid Fairy. It could... no, wait, Pyramid Fairy's other crystal is Skullwoods. I'm dumb. So yeah, it's in T-Rock. Fire Rod in T-Rock, everyone's favorite thing in the world. Sabo is waiting for his flute to reactivate. He's just gonna go ahead and head up to T-Rock now. He knows the answer. We all know the answer. PhantomRyu and KillerApp haven't quite gotten that answer yet, but they'll be learning it before too long. KillerApp takes down Cold Stare in round 2, and just before Ryu is gonna find out that, hey, there's a sword upgrade over here. Mimic Cave is going too easy. You gotta go for Laser Bridge. You gotta hope the keys drag them out as long as they can. This freaking seed, man, like, it started out with so much stuff so early, and it just immediately died and became do this, do this, do this. GFE entering into Vitreous, gonna use Cape Strats, gonna be the quicker option to do here. You can't really do NMG strats with a Master Sword very effectively, but... oh, now that's a lot, Grasshopper. That is a lot of evil you are throwing at these runners right now. So here we go, into T-Rock. With ideal key layout, you can get all the way to the end of the dungeon without going to the Fire Rod locked room. With less than ideal key layout, not so much. But we know that Fire Rod will be here, so there's really no risk to this dive. That is a small key in the first chest. We're going deeper. No, you need Vanilla Big Key for you to be able to go to Laser Bridge, P-Train. So here we go. We are going to the Chain Chomp room. In the awful layout, you get a small key here, which you have to. Oh, you get the Fire Rod here. Okay. In the key layout with Fire Rod on Laser Bridge, you would get a small key there. You would get the big key in Vanilla, and then you would get the next small key from the big chest, which would allow you to get to Laser Bridge. But regardless, doesn't matter, because the Fire Rod was at the Chain Chomps. sab0tender becomes the first of the 4 in Go mode. Obviously, GFE joins him in No mode. And we're seeing PhantomRyu working his way through Meyer soon. They are soon going to be aware, him and KillerApp, that the Fire Rod is in T-Rock. And that's a pretty nice layout for T-Rock in, what's kind of go mode. You don't have to do vanilla big key. You get the keys, you get the Fire Rod early, so when you have to go to that right side, it's a nice quick trip back. Relatively friendly, but the seed continues to be awful, making you dive T-Rock without the Fire Rod, dive Swamp without the hookshot. It's just rude. So here we go. KillerApp going through the back of Pod, doing this first, going to get his Helmasaur kill, and GFE setting up for Icebreaker. I'll be honest, I'm not good enough with this glitch to be able to visibly see if he gets it right. I know the basics of how to do it, but I don't know visibly well enough if it's lined up correctly. He's having a little bit of a tough time with it. It is relatively new. Not everyone is as aware as they, are for a lot of things in this game. So you wonder if at some point he's going to give up and just go the old route through Ice Palace. But he's working it, and he got it. So yeah, essentially for that glitch, at some point with that Samaria block and where you're standing, you trick the game into thinking that you are in a door, and so when you hold up or down, it tries to push you out of the door that is immediately to your left, and collision does not matter for that, so it just pushes you directly through that block, and you are able to continue on as if it didn't exist. So all GFE needs out of here is the shovel, which will get him the ice rod, and then he will head up to T-Rock as well. Once Sabo is done here, he'll be going to clear Misery Mire, Skull Woods, and Desert Palace. Not in that order. He'll probably do Misery Mire and Desert, and then Skull Woods, or Skull Woods and then the other two. But, PhantomRyu, meanwhile, picking up the big 20 out of the vanilla big key chest. That is the second item of the dungeon. So I do not believe he has seen the big key yet. He will be getting that soon. But he knows there's no more items in here. Once he finds the big key, he can just go along. KillerApp grabs his cane of Samaria, mirrors out, going to head into Eastern, get his sword, and kill the Armos. As PhantomRyu continues to search for the big key, KillerApp should be aware by now that the Fire Rod is in T-Rock. Sabo checking Laser Bridge to see if there is another sword here. $50, a compass, and a small key. And one more thing to find. He is going to just stun that Hard Hat Beetle, only to be knocked off the ledge by a laser. And that's silver arrows, that's not a sword. It's a lot less useful for Trinex, but it's very good with Master Sword Ganon as a potential. It's very good having to go to Vitreous to have those silvers. And of course, when GFE comes to T-Rock, he will know to just run straight down to that chest, grab those silver arrows, and move right along with his day. Ryu going through the dark rooms at the back of Misery Mire here, going to get to Vitreous, have the nice fun cake fight, most likely, and he will be going onward from there. So let's see, we got a Cold Stare fight going on GFE's side, using the hammer. With Master Sword spins, you can be a little bit safer and do the attacks, but it's slower. Hammer is the same damage and a little bit quicker, so you want to work your way through with that as much as you can. You can use the sword if you get a little bit low on health for safety. And that is unfortunate for sab0tender, running out of magic and having to mirror back without a potion to save himself. I don't think I ever saw him use the green potion from the chicken hut, but I also don't remember if he was the person on the team to pick that up or not. So he may have forgotten he had a potion, he may just have never picked up that potion. But that's a long walk back through the dungeon. Master Sword Trinex is not an easy fight, and if you miss any hits, you can miss any hits with the rods and the hammer. It can be costly, and it can be very easy to just hit yourself a little bit too much. KillerApp over on the right side knows the fire rod is in T-Rock. He is going to head there ahead of PhantomRyu. Don't know if Ryu will also go get the fire rod right now or if he'll work on some other dungeons, but having one person ahead of you in the dungeon on a co-op seed lets you skip some things that you'd otherwise check. It's good to split that up like that. Ryu is going to mirror and head back to the back of desert. This time he does have a fire source, so he will be able to kill Lammolas this time. He won't have the crushing disappointment he felt the last time he was here. Sabo taking the long walk back to Trinex, having a little bit of fun spinning around on the platform, because what else are you going to do while walking all this way? So up we go. I think, yeah, Ryu is actually the first person who's going to kill Lambo. Ironically, he was the first one who came here, but didn't have a fire source yet. And he's still the first person to finish the dungeon. It makes sense. You know where go mode is. You're already at Mire. Why not just clear desert in the meantime? I'm actually kind of surprised in hindsight that GFE didn't kill Lambo, because he was also right there in Mire. You just mirror over and wrap it up. But he went to ice. He got his Ice Palace Crystal. He's got his Ice Rod. I think he should at least. And yeah, he's gonna head in. Okay, that's fair. He didn't have a way to quick kill Lammo, but at the same time, walking all the way back to desert is probably slower than a Master Sword Lammo fight. If you use spins and the bow effectively, you can kill him slower than the quick kill, but a lot quicker than fluting to 6, going to the Dark World, mirroring to the Light World. Well, I guess fluting to 6 and going to the Dark World, because you would mirror anyway. Sabo getting through head 1 on Trinex, having a little bit of trouble with head 2, does not want to run out of magic again though. And let's see, getting close here. Okay, he got the kill. I was getting a little bit worried for Sabo, but... And no, Master Sword isn't the same as Spider Sword, because you use spins. And if you use spins, they do tempered sword damage. Combine that with some good bow usage, and you can have a pretty quick Lambo fight with Master Sword. Definitely not as quick as Fire Rod or Ice Rod or Silver's, but pretty quick. Quicker than the flute and transition. So that is the crystal off of Trinex for Sabo. He is going to now have to clear out Myers, Skullwoods, and Desert in whatever order he chooses. And GFE going through T-Rock. Got his Fire Rod, gonna go up to grab this chest up here, and then moving right along to the back. Sabo has chosen to do the Mire and Desert back-to-back combo before the Skullwoods play. You're really 6-1, half a dozen the other. Both options you're gonna have a little bit of inconvenience with, but... Also, at this point, we can safely say that 2 swords are locked away in GT, 100%. That is weird. That is unusual, but hey, you just gotta get through all the dungeons with Master Sword at most. And yes, KillerApp does have Fire Rod. It was in the Chain Chomp room, and you could not move past the Chain Chomp room without Fire Rod. So PhantomRyu going into ice. He's got a shovel to pick up here. This is really the easiest decision for these guys is you've got to go get that shovel to get the ice rod before you go up to T-Rock. You got to do T-Rock before you get Skull Woods. So his path is pretty clear, all things considered. Now we got the top of the screen, GFE, KillerApp working their way through T-Rock, relatively close to each other. KillerApp, PhantomRyu has not been to T-Rock, so KillerApp is going around to check the big chest in hopes of a sword. GFE got to just skip it, gain a little bit of ground because of that. And get Cane of Burna, which is a thing you really have zero use for at this point. You've already got Cape, which is better for Ganon, especially with Master Sword, so hey. So now we got sab0tender going through Misery Mire, grabs a small key there that is going to get him to the big key as quick as possible. This is a very good route through Mire on his end. PhantomRyu setting up for Icebreaker himself, going to see if he can get it pretty quickly, misses it that time. It's always weird with these new glitches, like you know they're faster, so you go for them, but if you aren't 100% at them, you know, the time saved might lose out to the time you could have gained by just doing the old way anyway. And GFE getting those silvers and a small key, gonna head up this way. With half magic, his Trinex fight should be a lot less scary. We're really having a little bit of trouble with this glitch. It is not the most simple thing until you have it 100% down. Saba going through the dark rooms here in Mire does not have Spooky set up. You would know, or you know he doesn't because he didn't try to preserve the setting. And Ryu, buddy, just go the old way. You spent too long on this. There you go. Of course, as soon as I say that, I curse him into getting it right. Perfect. So yes, he gets the glitch right as I'm encouraging him to skip it and move on, because of course, and he will be moving through Ice Palace, getting the shovel, and going right along. Sabo, meanwhile, getting close to the Vitreous fight, going to have a far quicker fight than anyone else so far has, because he's the only one who's going to be doing this fight with silver arrows, besides KillerApp, who will get there eventually. Very nice phase 2 by GFE on Trinex, gets him down. KillerApp starting his Trinex fight, and Sabo getting this silver arrow fight going. Actually, he decides, oh, he's only got 5 arrows, so he decides to just nope out of the silvers and handle this the slower but less costly way. He'll have those arrows saved up to stab Vitreous in the eye a couple times, and still have some left for the eventual GT. Actually, I'm curious if he saved those 3 arrows specifically for Land Molas, because he's probably going to land mode next. So 3 arrows is exactly what you need there if you get the kill right. I could see that particular choice being for that reason. KillerApp also has a good Trinex fight, gets him down, gets his crystal and $5. And he's got the same choice that sab0tender did. Do you do Mire Desert first, or do you do Skull Woods first? Apologies for a moment. I need a drink, so I'll be quiet for a few moments. Much better. There we go. So PhantomRyu working his way over to the big chest, which had the shovel. That will get him his ice rod in the long terms. sab0tender grabbing the big key, needs nothing else out of the desert, going straight to the back. And GFE going to be heading into Land Molas momentarily. After this, they both have to clear Skull Woods. So Team Sphere Affinity on the left here is at a very, very strong lead at the moment. They're both going to be down to one dungeon within the next minute or so, and it's a very quick dungeon when you're in go mode. Also, I don't know why I thought Sabo was saving arrows for Lamo, because there's the 2 arrow packs that he did pick up. Very quick to grab in Desert, so that'd be a clever play if there weren't arrows there, but really it was just me forgetting Desert's layout a little bit for a moment. Get Lambo down on GFE's side. He will flute to 3, head to Skull Woods. PhantomRyu is taken on Cold Stare, going to go with sword spins over the hammer strats. As I mentioned earlier, a little bit slower, but a whole lot safer. He does have red mail, so he does have a lot of hits he can take here. Saba with the perfect quick kill of Lambo using the silvers. Gets that map off the boss, gets his crystal, and will be fluting over to 3 as well. KillerApp going to be the first one of the seed to kill Mothula here soon. See if, I don't believe Moth should have any items if I recall what we saw in Skull Woods. We had the half magic, and I want to say a big 20 in there, but it's been a while since anyone's been there, so I'm not 100% on that. And here we go, Mothula, the annoying boss where if you hit him into the spikes that are all over his room in the right way, he just doesn't take damage, because it was the easiest way to code that the moth should not take damage from the spikes. But that's a compass. There were no more items. And he is done with that, going to mirror over and flute to Meyer. But yeah, it's a combination of the way that hits are detected in Link to the Past and the fact they didn't want Mothula to just instantly die in his own room from touching spikes. With Master Sword, it's not a whole lot different as long as you're aware of it. But like in Vanilla with Butter, if you go and fight Mothula, then you just kind of don't do damage at all, because spikes do Gold Sword damage. So here we go on the left side using some Fire Rod instead of just the sword by GFE. Gets Mothula down as quick as well. KillerApp did not read the pedestal, pulled it for the memes. Might have been hoping to see a sword there while he was in the area, but no such luck. He's going over to Meyer now to go get that wrapped up. And yeah, PhantomRyu is heading up to T-Rock, gonna get his Fire Rod, and then be headed to Skull Woods. So we're going to be seeing GFE and sab0tender both headed to GT a little bit before KillerApp and PhantomRyu are ready for it. Obviously, Sabo is nearly done with Skull Woods, and GFE is already on his way to GT. All they've got left now is to clear out GT and then go grab a quick little break at Aghanim and then move on. So I see Fear Agent has started in the chat our little game here for GT Big Key. There are 22 locations in the basement which could have a big key, and you're going to pick one of them, a number somewhere between 1 and 22 to try to hope for it. With how this seed has been, I gotta bet 22 because it just is fitting. You know, one of the big things with co-op is when you get to GT ahead of your teammate, if you're looking for something nice like a safety, like a sword, you can keep going through GT after finding the big key until they catch up. And you're not really going to cost your team's average any time. But if you have a really late big key, that doesn't do anything for you because you're already checking everything anyway. So it'd just be the perfect culmination of making this a pointless co-op seed if that big key was at 22, and I love the thought. Although Sabo's close enough behind anyway, it's not going to be a lot of extra checks GFE could get in GT without, you know, wasting any time, so to speak. But it's still going to be a little bit that he can't do. Maybe a couple, maybe, depending on where he's at, a room or two. So here we go. On the right side of the screen, KillerApp has gotten his big key. Did not grab the small key from somewhere. Did he use the one from the pot to go down to the bottom there instead of... Yeah, I guess that makes sense with how things are laid out, but there's the key in the big chest. He'll move on from there. And Ryu has his fire rod, is going to be heading up to grab the big key, small key, and then heading off to our dear friend Trinex. And that was the big key in... Did he go? He didn't go right side, right? I'm not misremembering that. Because if not, that would be chest number 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that should be 4, because he didn't go left unless I completely missed it. Oh, Ryu. Ryu is fluting to 4 because he remembered that he had not picked up the ice rod. Honestly, that is... It doesn't hurt much because you have to climb the mountain again anyway. But you were already in T-Rock, so it's a little bit of a time waste here. Now he's just going to go do Skull Woods and then go back up to T-Rock on his way to GT. Not a huge time waste, but it is a little bit more to have to go through those intro rooms of T-Rock again. Savo grabbing the big key, the small key, and the whole lot of nothing. And both him and GFE chose to check 0 additional chests in search of a tempered sword. They're both comfortable with Master Sword and Silvers. I don't see why runners who have been around this game and who are as competent as these two would spend all that much time when they're this close together. But I am surprised by the lack of Hope Room in particular, because that's 2 really quick checks that could have had tempered and butter. Like, I at least would have done those before going upstairs. But either way, they are both moving right along, heading up the gauntlet. GFE in the gauntlet, Savo will be joining him as soon as he gets through the Ganon Ball Z room. KillerApp gets his Silver Arrow Vitreous kill. More arrows than Savo, so it's a little bit more straightforward for him. But he gets his crystal, he'll mirror over and clear desert now, as Ryu begins his trek through the back of Skull Woods. You're coming up on Land Molus 2, GFE keeping that fire rod out, not going to go with the silver strats, in part because he is very low on arrows, only having 7. And you don't want to risk having to do Silverless Ganon with Master Sword. It's just not worth the risk for a little bit more reliable Landmo kill. So here we go on Wizro Room 1, splits the 4, splits the 3 of them, gets his kill, and moves on to Wizrobes 2, sab0tender, moving through the gauntlet. These red Zazaks giving him a little bit of a headache, but no real problems. So here we go. We get the torch room, we get to go upstairs, and I have to assume these 2 are going to check the chests upstairs. Like, you're on Master Sword, you know 2 swords are in GT, because you have checked literally everything else. You don't skip the chests up here. It would save you so much time if it's here. Unless, of course, they just want to do Master Sword Ganon because, again, last week. But no, they're checking. That's a map in the right side. That is bombs in the left side. 2 chests remain upstairs. PhantomRyu has his Desert Crystal. He'll be heading back to T-Rock. KillerApp has his 10th dungeon complete and will be heading up to GT himself momentarily. That is a convenient 10 arrow drop from, hey, that's another Canis Maria block on the pedestal there from PhantomRyu. And yeah, we got the Moldorm fight going on here. That's gonna be relatively straightforward. Master Sword, you're just gonna do 3 spin attacks. You don't want to poke because that'll enrage Moldorm. And the final chest of the game, do you have a sword? No, the swords were in the basement of GT. Now, KillerApp has an advantage in GT. Ryu has T-Rock still to do. So when he gets to GT, as I mentioned earlier, he can just kind of keep going until Ryu is done with T-Rock. And the team time is going to be basically the same. With GFE, Sabo was so close behind, he didn't really have time to do much extra, if anything. We got Aga 2 going on. Couple of misses here for GFE, but the blue ball doesn't help ever. And he gets another blue ball in that phase. That is not really what you hope to see. And yes, that is Aga 2 dead, and as mentioned in chat, there's one thing these two still need to do to complete this seed, and that is to mirror at the pyramid and go do Aga Tower. This is all dungeons, so you have to do the castle tower on top of the main dungeons. And, well, the easiest way to do it is to wait until right now, and then mirror over and do it. But sometimes muscle memory kicks in, you drop down into the hole, and you're a little bit sad. No such pain for GFE, though. Sabo on his Aga 2 fight, having a little bit better time at the get-go here. But also missing some shots. Aga 2 being rude today. None of these patterns are good, by the way. I think Sabo got one cycle less than GFE did. We'll see if he forgets to mirror over and do Castle Tower. And we got KillerApp going to the right over here. Gonna get a couple checks that we did not see. Hope Room did not have a sword, much to my relief for the sake of sab0tender and GFE's sanity. And here we go. Chest 1 in the compass room is 3 bombs. We get 20 bucks. We get 50 bucks. And still no sword. Wow. Sabo also remembering he needs to do Castle Tower and mirroring over. With a decent amount of arrows, he can use those silvers to speed up a variety of rooms. And just kind of keep moving along. GFE a couple floors ahead of them, but they'll both be on their Master Sword Ganon fight soon. Of course, to those of you who have played a lot of this game or watched a lot of this game, you're probably well aware that the Ganon fight is not free with Master Sword. In fact, the hardest part of Master Sword Silverless is not the Silverless part. It is the Master Sword part. Phase 1 and 2 with Master Sword can be brutal if you are unlucky or have a little bit of off execution can make them royally painful. So it's going to be a tough fight until they get to phase 4, which is basically normal. KillerApp taking advantage of Ryu catching up to check some extra chests here. We know there are 2 swords here, unless they are both in Pyramid Fairy, which is an option I just forgot until now. But it doesn't go any farther than the double fire bar room, so we will never know. They might be on Pyramid Fairy, they might be behind Ice Armos, they could be in Rando Room, but they are nowhere any of these runners want to do. Ryu is making his way through T-Rock, gets that key there. He will be headed down to Laser Bridge, where he will pick up his silver arrows and then headed off to continue. I have not been paying enough attention to Aghanim to know how many blue balls there are. I know there's at least one because I looked over and saw it, but there's another one. We'll see exactly how the first phase went on Sabo, since I missed a little bit on GFE. And there's the guaranteed hittable ball. Can we get some more blue balls? We get some more blue balls. Ah, yeah. So I'm going to be paying attention to Sabo here. That's another blue ball. Dear Lord. How many can there be? A lot. So let's see. The first hit was a regular hit, of course. The second shot, was it blue balls? It was. Are we at 100% right now? It's another hit. More blue balls. Lightning. More blue balls. So I'm counting on Sabos. We got 3 so far. Oh dear Lord, is this the dream? No, not 15, but there's 5 for Sabo, who I am counting from. That is Sabo's 6th blue ball. Of course, these 2 are getting the same RNG. Or no, this is the 6th blue ball, with the 2 getting the same RNG. GFE is spinning around with Aga. Of course the Seed would have a lot of blue balls, because why wouldn't it? That's just the way Rando works when it's this rude, right? So we get the Ganon fight started. That is 7 blue balls. Ganon asking why he's surrounded by incompetent fools. Maybe you should hire better people, Ganon. That's 8 blue balls. Getting a couple of double spins in at the bottom there. So it was 8 blue balls they got here. So with Master Sword, the only thing that can hit Ganon is a spin attack. That's why you see GFE not doing anything but spins here, despite them being much more risky. In Phase 1, you got to avoid the Trident throw. In Phase 2, you got the Fire Bats. For GFE with this cape, he's going to be able to avoid a lot of damage by using it. Grabbing onto the wall causes the cape to not drain magic anymore. So he's got a pretty straightforward fight. Sabo does not have half magic or that green potion as far as we're aware. So he is not going to be able to do quite as clean of a fight as GFE has had. GFE on Phase 3 gets his first hit. The first segments of floor fall. You can already tell the difference between the cape and the non-cape strats of GFE and Sabo here. Sabo is already fallen behind in terms of how many steps of this is going on. But he gets up to Phase 2 as GFE enters Phase 4. Ganon is concerned that we have the silver arrows, as well he should be. Mrs. Torch Glitch doesn't really matter with silvers. Like, as long as you know the fight, not having Torch Glitch isn't bad. With Tempered, you almost don't want to get Torch Glitch to make triples easier to set up. With Master, that's a little bit less of a concern, but very nice spin there. Gets Ganon down, and that is going to be a game complete from GFE as Sabo continues through Phase 2 here. KillerApp is getting through Moldorm right now. PhantomRyu heading into the Ganon's tower to go get his big key and join KillerApp upstairs. And Sabo is on the Phase 3. The hard part of the fight through, he should have no issue here. And GFE did finish with a time of 1:45.34. We will get the finish time of sab0tender when he gets there, which should not be long at this point. Meanwhile, KillerApp has gone into Aga 2. He will be dealing with these crappy patterns himself. Sabo getting the Torch Glitch, which gives him a really nice setup for a double if he can get there in time, which he did not quite. That was going to be a really tight setup with the way that knockback moved him. But he's got one more silver to land. He gets a missed spin there, gets a spin, but not going to get there in time for the silver, I don't think. No. So he's going to go through one more hit. Oh, no, I thought that was number 4. I can't count. Don't mind me. I've lost tournament races because I can't count before. Now I'm messing up on comps because I can't count. It's perfect. But he gets that last shot. He kills Ganon. He just needs to walk over this bridge, and he will be done as well, with Team Sphere Affinity taking the 1 and 2 spots. sab0tender finishing with a time of 1:46.56, and these two taking their final race of the tournament. That is GG to both of them. As mentioned earlier, they are not going to be making it to the playoffs, unfortunately. So this was their last race of the season. But they put on a good show on a ridiculous seed. I don't know about you guys, but I really enjoyed watching and having fun with. So they went out strong, and they will, probably still be around the rando community for quite a while. So we will see about things like interviews here shortly. In the meantime, we are watching PhantomRyu and KillerApp make their way through Cannons and Castle Tower, respectively. I don't know why I said the names from bottom to top instead of from top to bottom, but hey. And we are joined by the first of our winners, GFE. How you doing? Oh, and there's sab0tender as well. How you doing as well?
Yo.
Hey, GG's everybody. Nice seed.
Yeah, no kidding, huh?
Yeah, GG's on that. How did you guys like that cave?
When I got to left side swamp and it was cape, I was like, are you serious? I think I even joked about it before I got there. I don't know.
Because we were talking about, we had seen a seed earlier in the week, maybe even yesterday, where taking a dive into Hookless Swamp turned out to be like the big brain play. So we were kind of laughing about that the whole way. Like, oh, it kept looking like, well, maybe we're going to have to do Hookless Swamp. And then GFE's like, I'm going for it. And sure enough.
Yeah, I was going for it. There was nothing left. I mean, in Pod, I found Lamp, which opened nothing. And I found Kana Samaria, which also opened nothing because Quake was buried behind Bow.
Yeah, I was sitting here. I admitted I wanted it to be a little bit more rude in that cave to be on the right side at least. But yeah, then we were talking about if the mushroom was going to be the hook shot behind the boots, and then it turned out to just be sitting in King's Tomb. Like, yeah, that's close enough.
Yeah, when it was Cape, I was like, okay, that opens Bonk Rocks, King's Tomb, I can finish Desert for one item, or the Bonk Chest and Hookshot Cave, and then while I was on my way to Bonk Rocks, I was like, oh yeah, Mushroom's the thing too, so it's probably going to be that.
So I'm curious, GFE. When you went to GT, unless I missed it, which is possible because I was solo com watching 4 streams, did you skip the Hope?
You're gonna tell me there was a sword in Hope Room?
There was not. I'm just very surprised you didn't check that and thought I might be crazy.
No. If my partner is far enough behind me that I can guarantee I can Dark Magician and get that way, I can guarantee we get to Compass Room. I'll always route that way. So my plan, I was going to do Stalfos and then mirror and go right and let Sabo keep going left.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, if it makes you feeling better, the Compass Room did not have a sword. So the remaining 2 swords were either past the double firebar room or they were in Pyramid Fair.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I think, let's see, I feel like there was one other location I mentioned to Sabo that was available. I guess Mimic Cave and either Turtle Rock Big Chest or Lava Chest.
Right.
Okay, we didn't see the Lava Chest. I forgot about that one. The Big Chest of T-Rock was the Kana Burna, which the right side of the screen here has. And the Mimic Cave was something pointless. I know PhantomRyu checked it, but I can't remember what it was.
Wow.
Also, not to... Go ahead, Sabo.
I was going to say, I almost went for Hope Room anyways, after we got the big key kind of early there. I thought, man, just in case, I could maybe get it quick enough and maybe stop GFE from climbing if we happen to find a tempered sword there, but it might not have even been worth it. Maybe I could have caught up and passed him in again if I had something. That would have been kind of nice.
Yeah. Also, not to throw my teammates under the bus or anything, I'd just like to point out that both P-Train and Sabo died in the back of Turtle Rock today, or this week.
Yeah, I'll own up to that. Yep.
Hey, yours was more respectable, man. You ran out of magic. P-Train just died to a poke, though.
Yeah, I ain't gonna take a hit to a pokey.
Yeah, that magic moment hurt, especially because Sabo, did you pick up the green potion in Chicken Hut? Because I don't remember you using it.
I did
saw
not.
it here. Okay,
No.
that was kind of the conclusion I came to.
Yeah, I bought a blue goo for Ice Palace, but I used it unfortunately. And yeah, with no half magic from Skullwood's Big, yeah, I was in a bit of a tougher spot, but also I shouldn't have flubbed the fight. But it's okay.
Yeah, we kind of traded on the safeties. Sabo got the mail upgrades, and I got the half magic and a little bit more health than he did.
Yep.
Although, like, my gauntlet was absolutely awful. I'd like to take that blue Zazak room and pretend it doesn't exist anymore.
Makes sense. So, just a quick note on the administrative side, so to speak. We've been informed that we won't have time to interview KillerApp and PhantomRyu, unfortunately. So once they are both done, we will be kind of wrapping things up here.
Okay.
GG's to them. They're great people. So yeah, bit of a rough seat it seems like for them.
Definite GG's. I will say, chat may have noticed all 4 runners doing something rather unusual. That may or may not have been discussed beforehand.
I did get a kick out of that. I did enjoy it.
And with PhantomRyu in the seed, you know, it just had to be Kane.
Yeah.
That is awesome. So I guess with this being, you know, the last week 7 matchup last week, I'll ask you guys how you feel leaving the season of the league.
Well, you know, we're a little disappointed that you know, we didn't make the playoffs. It was just kind of a little bit of bad luck kind of on our part, and you know, a couple of little flub ups here and there. We were talking after this race here that we lost 6 points by a total of like 1 minute or something on a couple of close races that we had. So, you know, it could have swung in a completely different direction and we could have been moving on, but nah, this is a great team, and I'm really glad to be a part of it. So even if we're out, I'm still proud that we've done what we've done.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie and say I'm not a little salty, because we were definitely expecting to make playoffs this year. Me and Sabo both kind of threw a little bit earlier in the year. And honestly, like, some of the teams in this division ended up a lot more competitive than I was expecting. Like, I was impressed with how some of them have been playing. And like Sabo was saying, I just enjoy the kind of the league atmosphere. Sabo and P-Train are both great teammates, so we have a lot of fun together, even when it does kind of turn out disappointing. I think this will be the 2nd season in a row that most likely we're gonna end the season tied for 3rd and not make the playoffs.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I know when I was looking at the names on there, I'm like, oh, surely these guys are in competition for the playoffs. And I looked and I'm like, oh, okay. Something must have happened I didn't know about.
Yeah, we were, I think, one of the matches earlier this week, we needed the Double Dippers to win, and when they took a loss, that kind of ruled us out, because we would lose the tiebreakers.
Makes sense.
But, before I go, I'll go ahead. Thank you guys thanks for the commentary, Penny Royal. Really appreciate it. And Jinxie, thank you for the tracking. I don't know if anybody else is involved. If you two are really doing this on your own, that's pretty impressive with a four-man group.
We also had Fear Agent here tracking, but he ended up having to leave a little bit early.
Fear Agent doesn't count. He doesn't do anything anyway. Hashtag Team Kappa. But yeah, thank you all. It's been a fun league. I look forward to season 3 here in a couple of months, right, Fear?
Don't talk to him about that.
See y'all.
Have a good one, and thank you guys for putting on a great show.
All right, thanks a lot. As we have PhantomRyu and KillerApp on their Ganon fights here.
just a quick moment to once again say to drop these runners a follow. They are all quite good at this game. They are all quite fun people. I know I haven't said as much as I could have throughout the seed, but they do deserve your follows. And they just gave shoutouts to Jinxie and Fear for the tracking. They did a fantastic job today too. So all around, this has been a very fun race to take part in. PhantomRyu is actually going to go check Pyramid Fairy to see if there's a sword there. I love it. KillerApp has had some trouble on Ganon while we were interviewing Sabo and GFE. He will hopefully be getting the kill here this time. He's only got a couple more hits to go at most. He should be fine, but he's got no more arrows. So this is at a tough point for him. He's kind of ran his resources dry, and it is making it a little bit tight. Sorry, just scrolling a little bit here. So yeah, we're getting close to the end. Ryu checks some swords. It's a sword! One of the swords was in Pyramid Fairy. One remains to be found, probably somewhere in the rest of GT. But PhantomRyu is going to have the best Ganon fight of all four of these guys. And so, coming up right after this, and why we don't have time to interview KillerApp and PhantomRyu, there is a Pac-Man World Tournament match coming up immediately after we finish here. So if you guys want to watch more racing activity, feel free to stick around and watch that. Of course, SpeedGaming has various things going on other channels at the moment. We got SMZ3 on SpeedGaming 2 right now. We're going to have a Final Fantasy Rando match going on SG4. We've got SG5 with Super Metroid multi-category into SMZ3. I forget what time zone this is in, so I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that should be going to the SMZ3 now. Actually, I don't know if that's on there. Never mind. That's not scheduled for that channel. I read schedule bad. But then on SG1, we got an Illusion of Gaia randomizer tournament going on. So everything all across the SpeedGaming channels, we got various things going on as Ryu blows his way through this Ganon fight with the Tempered Sword a lot more comfortably than any of the other three runners had. He's got one more hit on phase 3, and then he will be heading just 4 silver arrows to wrap it up. 1, gonna go ahead and relight the torch, get torch glitch, switch back to silvers. Again, does not give him a setup for a double. He gets no hit there, comes on, gets a hit on the next teleport. Not gonna get one here because of the torch going out. Lights it up. Where does Ganon land? Bottom rightish. There's silver number 3. And with silver number 4, PhantomRyu will be done. So KillerApp, I did not mention, finished with a time of 1:59.04. And we now see PhantomRyu finishing with a time of 2:01.07. Thank you guys for watching. I'm going to get out of here right away, given our time constraints, and see ya on the next one.